It's Spoilerin time, folks. This is the show that goes along with our other show, Cordkillers. On Cordkillers, we figure out who's making the things. Where do you watch them? How do you watch them? Then we watch them and we come over here and talk about them. This week, we'll be spoiling Westworld, Season 4, Episode 6, What We Do in the Shadows, Season 4, Episode 4, and Better Call Saul, the 10th episode of Season 6. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Dude, I'm so excited. We're starting with Saul, right?
Better Call Saul, Season 6, Episode 10, or as I call it, the Brian Nailed It episode, all in black and white, all forward thinking. 1 out of 3. You were saying maybe we get all the last 3 are set in the future.
Yeah. So I guess we only have 2 episodes ahead of us now.
I believe that's 3 more. I believe it's 3.
3 more. Okay,
3 more.
yeah.
Okay. Man, this is one of those episodes that I think really deserves a second full viewing, because once it takes you about halfway through to realize, oh wait, he's taking care of the problem of the cabbie who recognizes him. He's becoming overly friendly with the cabbie's mom. He's becoming friendly with the security. Why is all this happening? And about the halfway mark, you realize, oh wait, he's embroiling him in a heist, and it's only near the end that he says, look, I've got you. This is why you will never mess with me again. You will always go the other way. Starting off knowing that makes it a really fun second viewing.
Oh, yeah.
As you see how diligent he is about learning every little detail about whatever high school football they're talking about the foibles of what's his name's mom. This may be one of the best episodes, full stop. I loved it.
It's a bottle episode, really.
Yep.
It's unconnected directly, anyway, to anything else that we've watched, and it's thoroughly enjoyable. From all the things that you said that I won't repeat what you said. They're absolutely true. The meticulousness of the plot, the way it's so well laid out, to Carol Burnett as the mom. It was just a joy to see Carol Burnett, somebody that I grew up watching on primetime TV, who's a genius comedian. And plus Jim O'Hare from Parks and Rec as the chief security guard too.
To see immediately how quickly he adjusts to her steadfast, don't help me, her stoicism.
Don't talk to me, don't help me, I don't need to know.
It's amazing. Yeah. And to the predictability of the security guard, and it was a treat. It was a treat twice over. I was really surprised by how much it stood up to a second viewing. Bryce, how did this one land?
Same. I watched this one twice, and it is it's way better. It's way faster the second time. Like the first time you watch it, because you're lost. Like, what are you doing all that for? That first 20, 15 minutes is kind of long. You're like, what are we doing? And yeah, seeing it the second time, knowing where everything's, it's great. I walked away from this episode really sad. I don't know if y'all got, I'm assuming I don't think this is crazy, but like Saul, Gene, if he wasn't doing a heist, he would have made 5 friends, 5 lifelong, deep connections with people in a town that he has been effectively a ghost in, as far as his criminal past. And all he does with that is to reject all of those people. That's the only reason he does it. His only goal at the end of it, even seeing all of the perfect, the best flying colors version of this heist happens, and he still uses it to reject these people.
That's interesting, because he even uses that concept in the scam when he needs to distract the security guard from turning around after, when the guy falls down and knocks himself out. He talks truth. What am I doing? I have no life. I'm home alone. Those aren't real emotions at that time, but they're all truths about him.
Yeah.
Well, and on the flip side, though, it is a testament to his diligence, to the fact that he knows that the only way he could be taken out is if he gets weak and
Yep.
and befriends beloves, which okay, now that we get to jump straight to speculation, can anybody think of one person that it would be worth eschewing all friendships for? One person that you believe is
Throw everything
there
away for?
if you would just wait and be diligent and smart and long enough. This makes me believe that Kim Wexler is alive and well, and that this is all sticking to the plan.
That's rocky. That's a wooden bridge, Brushwood. That's a wooden bridge.
And it could go lots of ways. It could be the plan. You're absolutely right. And it kind of feels like maybe that's what it is. It could also not be the plan. It could be random. It could be she's passing through town, and she becomes the temptation to break from the plan.
I'll say this much, that if she's out of the picture, and yes, you're right, maybe he's so infatuated that he would be this diligent just at a chance to see her again. But absent that situation, he's too good at becoming friends. And yeah, he has to keep a low profile or whatever, but it's like he knows he can go get his face altered. He knows that he can,
You're right. There is a reason he's playing by the witness protection rule book here.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yeah.
There's an end goal in mind.
I want, do we want all of them to be specifically in black and white going forward, or what?
I have a gut feeling that we're going to go back to the color era, that we're not going to have all of these in the black and white era. In which case, then when we're in the black and white era, I want to stay there. I want to stay black and white until the end. I think the end becomes color. Or maybe if Kim Wexler does arrive, that's
she brings the color back into his life.
Yep.
Oh,
No, I do think we'll have a full on Wizard of Oz.
It's a Dorothy moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they go to JCPenney's and they pick out the loud, ugly blazer and tie again. And
I want that for them so bad.
Dude,
what I love is that I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
I know that Jesse and Walt somehow are showing up.
Yeah.
I have no clue how that's going to happen now.
I only know that because of some Google News headline or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's no clear arrow pointing to where Saul Goodman is going. Only vague indications of where he probably won't go.
Did both of you watch El Camino, the Breaking Bad movie?
Yeah.
I did. I think we talked about it on Spoilerin time, maybe.
Oh, maybe. And they brought back, Walter White for that film. They brought in, what's his name?
Bryan Cranston.
Thank you.
Yeah.
To act in that. And that moment in that movie is like at the very end, but it's a flashback. It's like a poignant, like, this is the moral of the story flashback. I have to imagine it's got to be something like that, right? A new moment from the Breaking Bad era that kind of consolidates the whole, really distills it into the final takeaway from the show. That would be my guess.
Cliff Singer points out the next episode is titled Breaking Bad. That is the name of the episode.
Okay. So maybe that's another standalone moment of like, I don't know if we saw the very first moment that they connected, or that there's some moment they reconnect or whatever. But if we get a bottle episode of Nippy, a bottle episode of Breaking Bad, and then the real end of the story, chef's kiss, totally happy, perfect.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that too. Anything else on BCS?
What's that character's name? Freddie or Jeff? Jeff, the taxi driver in this episode. He has been recast.
Okay, I was thinking that doesn't look at all like the guy.
And it's not. They couldn't get the guy, and so
Oh,
they
wow.
they have Pat Healy in as it. Also found out last episode with the mansion scene at the very end.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember in earlier on in Better Call Saul where Kim and Jimmy go and tour a house? They go and tour, do a big open house, and they shower
Yeah.
together in it.
Yeah.
Apparently, they wanted to get that mansion for that sequence, and they couldn't. But they went and found like an exact same
That looks
type of layout.
close enough that you're gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
That whole thing that they tacked on at the end of that episode where we jump forward makes me think we're going to that period of time at least one more time. Because
it'd be interesting.
yeah. All right, that is Better Call Saul, season 6, episode 10. Let's talk about What We Do in the Shadows, season 4, episode 4. The person who crawled from the dead body of Colin Robinson is rebelling. He's hitting his teenage years.
Yeah, we're talking about going to the back markets and all that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the night market.
The night market.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So the person who has crawled from the dead body of Colin Robinson is rebelling and not wanting to do everything that not Laszlo.
Oh,
Wait, Nandor?
no, it is Laszlo.
Yeah.
Laszlo. The Laszlo wants him to do.
Yeah.
But you're right. The centerpiece of this entire episode is the night market, which has a subway stop, but is kept secret by people being annoying in the subway car until everybody gets off before that stop.
So at first, about 2/3 of the way through this one, I thought so we're just doing a whole bunch of silly hot messes all at once. I don't follow. And then by the end, I realized that we really did have 3 discrete narratives of 3. It was basically 3 polar opposites trapped in a elevator together. You had Nandor and Guillermo. Where for the first time ever, it's been unspoken that Nandor understands that Guillermo could kick his ass at any moment. And that's why they call him a bodyguard or whatever. But there was never real respect that was happening.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we saw developing over this season, Nadja and the keeper of the Vampira Council place and all of her minions or whatever.
Yeah.
We've established that power dynamic is frustrating. And we have, of course, the back and forth between Laszlo trying to be a parental figure to the terrible thing that came from the rotting corpse of the definitely killed Colin Robinson. And yet, all 3 of those stories, we find partnerships at the end of. It's been a while since we've seen such a tidy traditional
Wrap up.
buddy up episode like this.
Yeah, it was a ABC story, right? I'm not even sure which one was A, which one was B, and which one was C. To be honest,
it was almost an exact blend of all 3, right? You had a union dispute where deceptions were attempted, but ultimately both sides came to a proper understanding. You had a father-son dispute in which, through proper communication, they in honest, intimate exposure of, no, this is what fairies look like. I'm sorry, they smell terrible, And then likewise, the most trusting of all, you see Guillermo and Nandor. Full on do a play fight in front of everyone where lives are on the line. I mean, I think this might be the best episode of this season so far.
Yeah. Now that you've laid it out, I think Laszlo is the C story because we get less of it than the other 2. But the other 2 could be considered your A story. Not that it really matters. They're both great. They're all 3 good stories and fun stories. And I just love the idea of the night market. What a great device to, do their own diagonally kind of weird twisted thing that you may or may not ever go back to, but it was certainly a fun field trip.
I didn't love the 3-story thing going on. Partly because they never connected at the end. You know, they're just
You didn't like that they were 3 independent stories.
Yeah, I did. I thought like, okay, we've got 3 stories all getting short shrift.
Too Jim Jarmusch for you.
I dare you to make less sense.
Jim Jarmusch did a film called Night on Earth, where it's like 4 stories that don't intersect at all.
Oh, gotcha. I mean, I like that they're trying to lean into these character dynamics because I think they've got good character pairings. And I think they need to pick a favorite. I think they've got this big ensemble cast and they don't want to pick favorites, but I think maybe they should pick a favorite and spend just a little more time. Because I like the Nandor and Guillermo fight. I like their whole dynamic as they continue to figure out what is up with Nandor and his intimacy stuff and what's up with Guillermo and his intimacy stuff. The Colin Robinson and Laszlo stuff. I get it. I see them all, and I think I'd rather have the Guillermo the Guillermo Nandor episode, the guide and Nadja episode.
And I stand behind everything I said, but also I totally understand and agree with everything you just said. Like it is getting wild and sloppy, and it's becoming Meatballs too, where it's all over the map, and
it's fun. It's funny. These are good ideas, and the characters and actors are. I mean, these are very high level problems, but there's still weaknesses.
I think Laszlo's story was the weakest, and I think Nandor's story was the strongest. The Nandor Guillermo fight was the most interesting to me because it was really felt like a real but also funny. This is a play fight that is about to get real, and if it gets real, it's deadly, and that's not good. And are we working out our issues? And these issues come bubbling out. I love that. Nadja's story, I didn't really get until the end. It probably had the best resolution though, because it was like, oh, this whole time you were looking for this weird thing because it was your trump card in figuring out the labor dispute and getting around Kristen Shaw's guide and all of that. All that said, like I totally get where you're coming from too, Bryce. Like it is lacking focus to have those 3 stories.
Yeah.
My only defense of the Laszlo line is that he's got the least to work with. He's got a kid version of Colin Robinson.
Yeah. Well, and they're like having to put his head on this dancing child.
I also think you don't need more of that story. It may be the weakest story of the 3 here, but it wouldn't have been better to give it more time. I don't know that makes a good standalone episode. It was good as the little bits that they gave it. Because I feel like it was laying a foundation for something else later. That is What We Do in the Shadows, Season 4, Episode 4. Let's talk about Westworld, Season 4, Episode 6. Bryce, we're back in Gangsterland.
Yeah.
But it's in ruins now. And Bernard has taken Maeve there so he can get a control unit out of one of the dead bodies and put it in Maeve and transfer memories over it. Because Maeve's is corrupted, and then we're going to revive the weapon. The weapon is Maeve, but there's deception because some of C's other friends have gone into the city to rescue someone, and maybe they got caught. Oh, wait, no, that looks like that's a flashback from when C was young. But it also parallels what we had in the last episode. Either way, the friends come back, and we have to figure out which of them got replaced and is now a host.
Tom?
Yes?
I don't think I like this episode, really, at all. I think I really didn't like this episode. And it was almost all because of the Caleb stuff, the amount of time that we've spent.
Oh, gosh, yeah, I think that's very telling that I totally skipped like 15 minutes of action, which is Caleb and Charlotte meet and have an argument, and then Caleb follows clues from previous Calebs until he makes it out, and it turns out he makes it out so that Charlotte could catch him and have him tell her why he's different from hosts. And the way she gets him to tell him is by letting him send a message to C, which is apparently a real message that really goes to C. And she's disappointed because all he says is basically, I love you. You got this, kid.
Yeah.
I, okay,
Brian.
I've been watching this discussion, and the words I'm hearing, I could have sworn I heard in association with ... and that's why this show is great.
Here's my specific problem with the Caleb story in this episode, is that since we had the reveal, what was it, a week or two ago, that Caleb died a long time ago, and all of the Calebs that we've been seeing for this season are hosts or recreations, clones, simulations, whatever. I don't know where Caleb is. I don't know when he is. I don't know which one he is. And so I really don't have the stakes with him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so the nebulous part of the whole Caleb thing of he's in a room and there are 4 other Calebs and they're pushing him. And then he, I don't know if it was just so obvious that he was walking through an experiment.
It did seem odd that they had never cleaned up any of those handprints.
So Brian, for example, he goes through a vent. He's going through an air duct, and he pushes open the grate because there's a dead Caleb right next to the grate. He died right next to it. So he opens up the grate and he looks down, and there are 2 dead Calebs on the ground.
I mean, that's just more pushing for the cushion.
And so Caleb realizes, well, neither of them are directly below the grate, so I could fall, but it's like 40 feet. And so the one that was dead next to him wakes up and goes, use me. And actually they do a tandem fall, and they fall on the back of the other one. It's all nebulous.
These
and
all sound like things you would be praising last week, but this week you're not praising.
Because honestly, that one isn't so bad.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like, oh, that's good forethought of like, I died twice. All right, let me just wait here for the next one of me. And then I'll let him use me, and then we'll get out, because one of us is real. That's very existential, very Westworld. What bugged me is that Caleb is also running through a room and then sees a bloody handprint on the wall next to a secret panel, looks down and realizes, oh, my hand is bloody. Previous Caleb with his bloody hand must have gone that way. And I'm like, really? Like, they never cleaned that wall? Like, that seems on purpose to lead you somewhere.
It was obvious what they were doing, and and what frustrates me the most is that the only reason Hale did it, maybe this is my human bias showing, but the only reason she did it was because some part of...
She wanted to see what he did at the end.
Yeah, what is it about you that is breaking all of my hosts? What is it about your mental thought process? That's because she keeps thinking that it's an infection. She keeps thinking that there's this big human disease, and really what she's chasing is, I don't know, the Fifth Element or children or whatever.
Yeah, but she thinks Caleb is at the root of the breaking, like the people who break out of the pattern and realize they're in a simulation.
What are you doing? Tell me what you're doing to them.
Yeah.
And she made it seem like he was the first one to be associated with a breach. Yeah.
Yeah, breach. Thank you.
But very clearly not what with the multiple bodies.
Yeah, there's hundreds of times. And so that whole story was so bad it made me dislike this episode.
I don't agree that it was bad. I thought it was well done. I just knew that it wasn't going to end up with anything very important. And then I thought I was wrong when the broadcast showed up and heard the broadcast. I'm like, oh, maybe he does get out. Maybe this is real. Maybe they're going to reunite. And then, of course, no, Charlotte is like, man, I just wanted to see who you'd call with your one phone call. And it was C, and you didn't say anything much. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I'm not sure where you go with that in the future. So I'm not sure why I spent so much time on it, but it was kind of interesting to follow, even if I was like, well, it seems a little easy that he left marks for himself and they didn't clean him up, but okay, let's have fun with it. The Bernard stuff, on the other hand, I thought had some really good moments. The part I really believe that C didn't trust him believably. And I believe that Bernard knew that she wouldn't, but was okay with that because he knows what's going to happen. And there are just enough things that Bernard's like, yeah, 40% of the time this happens, but 60% of the time this other thing happens. So I'm kind of hoping it's the 60%. I don't really know. I've only seen the simulation. Let's try. It gives you just enough uncertainty that it doesn't feel like it's all forward.
Is Bernard still like batting 1,000 as our hero? Like we.
He's doing the Doctor
Yes.
Strange thing
Yeah.
still.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Half the time you shoot me in the chest, half the time you shoot me in my junk, or stuff like that.
And with Maeve, C says, if you wake her up, does she help us? And he's like, 60% of the time she wakes up and helps us. 40% of the time she thinks we're a threat and kills us.
But they end the episode with her waking up and saving the day. Or
Now,
right? Doesn't she? Oh yeah, because she gets the guy.
I thought that was brilliant because I thought C must have sneaked her control unit in while she was waiting for the other guy.
But she couldn't
But they never showed us that. So
Yeah.
now I'm not sure if that's what actually happened. But yeah, they did play a good game of like, of Mafia, where they're like, who's the host? Is it my girlfriend? I don't know. I'm going to lock you in a closet just in case. But if you're not a host, probably better for you to be here. You'll be safer anyway. That's going to hurt their relationship, I have a feeling, in the future. But it ends up to be the other main guy. And she figures that out real quick because he's nice to her.
Yeah.
And that guy was a jerk.
That was a fun. That was a 2 + 2 = 5 of the episode of like.
Yeah.
He would be honest with you. He would never want to be my brother. Pacow! Like, oh, that was some classic Westworld action, Tom. I loved that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was good. That was good stuff.
Hey guys.
Hey, Bri, you're gonna need to start watching soon, huh?
I just had this question.
Yeah.
What's this show about?
This season, what is this show about this season? Because man, try to encapsulate all the seasons, I think would be too tall of an order for a mere human. But
Yeah.
this season is about are the hosts any different than the humans? Is there really a difference between them?
Yeah.
So-
if you
so-
digitized a human, what would be missing? What is the animus that you cannot digitize of a
Yeah.
human? And how can a robot simulate or get their own?
And do they have a perfection because of their machine nature, or
So-
do they suffer the same weaknesses?
Or phrase the way I'm imagining it. Tell me how far off I am. An aggrieved party subjected to unspeakable cruelty for an unimaginable amount of time. The dance floor is swept wide. They are given their opportunity to shine. Will they?
or will they turn into their oppressors?
Right. They want existential liberty, you know? They don't say human very much. They're usually like them or the old gods, you know. It is like religious at this level.
Question,
Okay.
is there anybody confirmed to be an actual living human at this point anywhere?
We believe that C and the other rebels are still human. We know that there are humans in Hale City, which they called it this episode. And those
Yeah.
are the ones that get turned into hosts or get hit by the parasite.
Yeah,
so there
honestly,
are humans.
the humans in Hale City are the only ones that have come close to being confirmed. Even those, I don't know that we've ever seen like a beating heart pulled out of any of them or anything like that. But
Right.
So
But yeah.
do we think there's like some kind of giant glowing embryo-filled orb
Daniel,
that somebody
original
just
Man in
needs to
Black.
twist and then babies will come out?
I don't
no.
know.
think so.
Humanity seems so. They really try to set it up like humans lost the war, and
The humans lost the war. The flies can program them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we
Then
see
it's
the
gotta
flies
be
being
spaceships.
used more than once.
Then it's spaceships.
okay.
I
Well,
I'm getting the feeling there's no spaceships.
that's
Yeah.
how that's how you know there will
That's
be
how they get
spaceships,
you.
Actually, Tom,
Yeah,
actually.
exactly.
And yeah, the Man in Black is still being explicitly kept alive as a human, and they're kind of really letting us know that Hale has him as a human. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not, Tom. Westworld, maybe
There-
not.
Yeah, there are things where it's like, if the original Man in Black isn't a human, that doesn't make, then why bother with that storyline? Like that doesn't feel like a reveal that adds anything. That feels like a reveal that makes you go like, oh, well, then that was dumb. Which I get. I'm not saying that those things can't happen in a story, but it wouldn't even make sense for a bad story to do that, if that makes it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think I really like how fast the show has been this season. How fast the episodes have been. Yeah, and so I feel like we just didn't cover as much ground because we had because everything was a little drawn out. I liked the Mafia game element, but it was so short alongside all the other Chicagoland stuff that we only got about a second of it. I could have
used like a third more Chicagoland. Bernard and C's dynamic was great. And then you could have just short circuited Caleb's thing into a cutscene because it was basically just a video game anyway.
Yeah. Westworld, man.
All right. How you feeling, Brian?
There's only 2 more episodes left, so you're going to need to get started on that watch, my friend.
Can I start like next week?
I mean, you can do whatever you want, but the final one is in 2 weeks.
Or do I just want to join you guys and pretend like...
Can I get out of my...
Oh, no. It's... I'll watch all of them.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the only thing we're holding to.
I mean, but like understand that if next week I watch a whole bunch of them, you're going to be real frustrated because all I'm going to want to do is talk about the first 4 or 5 episodes or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. The original plan was that you would watch them all before we talked about the last episode.
Yes.
So whatever gets you there, or if you just watch the last episode, I guess. I don't know.
No.
That is Westworld season 4, episode 6. Next week on Spoilerin Time, it's Better Call Saul, episode 11 of 13 of season 6. What We Do in the Shadows, season 4, episode 5, and Westworld season 4, episode 7, the penultimate Westworld episode. Thanks everybody for being with us. Thanks to the patrons who make it possible to do the show. They get the show early. They get after talk. Maybe they'll even get a Bryce Newsgram trailer someday. Patreon.com/Cordkillers. We'll spoil you next time.
Just 15. Just 15.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.